Fellow Ambazonians, good evening. It's a privilege to come to you once more with a very important presentation. I hope you will stay put, watch, and take this message out to the rest of Ambazonians out there, because I consider this a very, very important broadcast. This message was broadcast a few hours ago, I think about 2 hours ago, on ABC, and unfortunately the recorded version of it disappeared, and I have to come back with it and represent it all over again. Fellow Ambazonians, last week the interim government issued a declaration promising a total lockdown of our national territory, Ambazonia, if the French government didn't account for the whereabouts of some 300 Ambazonian detainees of Kondenge Principal Prison and scores of others reported killed at the Boya Center Prison on July 22nd and July 23rd. We had in that announcement given the French Cameroon government up to 5 days within which to account for their whereabouts and to allow lawyers and family members access to the missing detainees to prove they all survived the shootings in Kondenge and Boya prisons. The 5 days have now elapsed. Yaoundé has not fully accounted for the whereabouts of all the detainees. Many of them, in fact, majority of them, their whereabouts still remain unknown. In the meantime, we continue to receive calls and inquiries as to what next. Many of you want to know when the lockdown is supposed to start, among other things. Before I proceed to giving you answers, I should make it very, very clear to all of you that the French Cameroon regime will want you to believe that they have already clearly accounted for all the missing detainees. No, that has not happened. It is not true, not to the satisfaction of this interim government. We therefore call upon the French Cameroon government to do exactly what we ask. 3 things happened within the past few days, the past weekend. Number 1, lawyers were allowed to see 80 of the detainees. Number 2, René Sadi, their communications minister, mentioned in a tweet that all the detainees are alive. And lastly, number 3, Sadi followed the tweet with a press briefing last Friday. These gestures by no means meet the demands the interim government made. La République du Cameroon's René Sadi mentioned in his tweet last week that 177 detainees taken away from Kondenge are in different detention centers in Yaoundé. But he would not mention where precisely these detention centers are located in Yaoundé. Then on Friday, René Sadi revised the numbers, upgrading them from 177 in his tweet to 246 as the total number of detainees. He said they relocated from Kondenge on July 22nd. About the Boya prison detainees since gone missing, he stated in his Friday press briefing that no one was killed during the riot shootings in Boya prison. He said that only a handful were injured, hospitalized, and that they have since been brought back to the prison facility. There are a number of lapses emerging from René Sadi's briefing that still require answers or clarifications. since the incident on Monday, July the 22nd and the 23rd. Lawyers have been given access only to 80 detainees out of 246, which is their own figure. The question is, what has happened to the rest? Why are the lawyers not being given access to the rest? I mean, the remaining 166 detainees that Rene Sardy acknowledges they have in custody. The next inquiry is, where precisely are they? I mean, the 246. Why has their whereabouts suddenly become a matter of secrecy? Is it not possible that they are in a very bad shape and they have even died and the regime is covering it up from the public? Ambazonians demand to know their state of health and why their precise location has become a matter of secrecy. The Republic du Cameroon has a pedigree in public manipulation and lies telling. It makes it hard, therefore, for this interim government to want to take the word of Rene Sardy for a gospel truth. The regime is incapable of telling the truth. Therefore, we reiterate here that our requests or demands to see the detainees alive or dead have not been met yet. We note that prisoners were suffocated in Boya and Yaoundé with tear gas, live weapons, and news reports of scores dead in Boya prison and 300 disappearances from Kondenge prison. That only 80 detainees have been accounted for and seen by lawyers out of a total of 246 detainees does not mollify us or assuage the wrath and indignation of this interim government. This is evidence enough for all of us to hold that somebody is hiding something. Assuming that French Cameroon government owns numbers are correct, then that means 166 detainees in Yaoundé are still to be accounted for. We reaffirm our position once more that until the remaining 166 detainees are seen or visited by lawyers, a national lockdown of Ambazonia will continue to loom. The 5 days have now elapsed, but for the Muslim holiday that ends on Sunday, we would have announced the start of lockdown today. But we thought to pay respect to our Muslim families who are celebrating the Feast of the Sacrifice this week through Sunday. We ask you all to be patient. Let them use this week to shop for the lambs and the goats they need for the weekend festival. The Muslim community is a vital part of this struggle, and we cannot be such insensitive to their religious holiday. Lockdown will therefore be delayed until the end of the Muslim festival. The good thing in this is that La République du Cameroun has a few more days to step out to account for the 166 detainees who are still missing. If after that La République du Cameroun has still not come out to account for all the 166, lockdown shall immediately be invoked, and we shall make sure it is implemented to the letter. Fellow Ambazonians, this issue of prison deaths and disappearances should be considered very, very crucial to all of us, which is why we take the lockdown very, very seriously too. If La République du Cameroun isn't held to account for all of these detainees, we are essentially allowing them to arrest, to detain, and then kill our people with impunity anytime it pleases them. You equally have to realize that if we do nothing, if we do not fight for these detainees today, tomorrow it could be your turn. This lockdown will send a strong message to La République du Cameroon that the time they pick up our brothers, they pick up our sisters, our mothers and fathers, and treated them like nobodies is all over. We have already sacrificed everything that we have in this struggle. Almost every household has lost a loved one or valuable property, including careers, businesses, and homes destroyed. What do we have to lose standing up for these ones? Really, what do we have to lose? Our detainees deserve dignity, no matter what their crimes may be, if indeed there are any. The interim government advises all Ambazonians in the country to use this short period of solidarity with our Muslim compatriots to keep on stocking food and water in their homes. The lockdown is going to be very, very rigid. Please do not say you were not warned ahead of time. Take this opportunity of the Muslim feast period, make good use of it. Make good use of the time still left. Buy and stock your home with enough water and food items. The lockdown is coming. La République du Cameroon shall never take us for a ride, never again. When the moment is due, I shall be back. I shall be out here once more to inform you. Once more, we urge you to stock your homes with water, food and drinks, if necessary. Businesses shall be shut down. Transportation shall be shut down. The cities shall also be ghosted, and anyone who flunks the orders shall be arrested by the restoration forces. They will have our blessings to do so. All colonial offices, including colonial SDOs, the gendarmes, mayors, all administrative offices shall be shut down for this lockdown. On the school resumption campaign, the interim government stance has been made previously very, very clear. Our attitude towards the so-called back-to-school campaign has not changed and will not change anytime soon. Not until fulfillments have been made. The fulfillments we have demanded have been made. We still hold strongly onto the position that there shall be no school resumption in all of the southern Cameroons and Ambazonia unless La République du Cameroon paves the way for safety and the security of our kids by withdrawing the entirety of their brutal, murderous army from all of Ambazonian territory. Until that happens, until that is done, we will continue to laugh at these desperate campaigns for school resumption that La République du Cameroon has recently embarked upon, including bribing the Southern Cameroon's media, bribing the local chiefs, doling out huge sums of money to different county administrators to have them lure parents to send their kids to school to be killed. If La République du Cameroon had rather used this energy and resources to launch a campaign of retreat for all its soldiers in our country, schools would have resumed readily without all the bribe. This cool thing for us, ladies and gentlemen, is a do or die thing. Let me sound it exceedingly clear. One more time, that school resumption in the southern Cameroons and Ambazonia shall only be contingent upon French Cameroon completely pulling out its soldiers from our country. Gone are the days that French Cameroon used us like toilet tissue. Gone are the days that they forced their will upon us. We will resist this back-to-school nonsense campaign with the same vigor and tenacity we have employed to prosecute this revolution up to today. And we do not want to hear that, oh, the international community would not want to hear that you are denying children the right to education. Who says we are denying children the right to education? We don't want to hear it. We are not the problem here. We never declared war, nor sent our troops to occupy an inch of territory that doesn't belong to us. If the aggressor will just withdraw, if they will pack and leave, the next day, our children will be feeling safe and secure enough to be back into the classroom. If the international community really values us and value the education of our kids, they will be joining us in this call to ask that La République du Cameroon campaign should focus on pulling out their troops, their soldiers, instead of the current campaign of bribery that bribes different segments of the society to get children in harm's way. We have proposed in the past to the United Nations in particular that should it genuinely want our kids back to school, that they declare the entire southern Cameroon's territory a Beaufort territory. Bring in an ECOWAS or United Nations peacekeeping force to police the territory instead of the Cameroon Army and the Ambazonian Restoration Forces. In that case, the Restoration Forces will put down their weapons and allow United Nations peacekeeping forces to take control until negotiations are over. We think this is fair enough, and the most simplistic approach at arriving at a temporary fix to the education crisis in our country. If the United Nations believes in the right to self-governance, self-determination, we don't see why this proposal should not match a temporary fix. If French Cameroon does not pull out its soldiers, but keeps on trying to impose its colonial curriculum once more upon our schools and our people, we shall physically exercise the right to defend our Anglo-Saxon system and culture, just the same way we currently defend our independent restoration. Our restoration forces shall be put on the alert. They shall have our blessings to arrest any French Cameroon authority or anyone on the payroll of French Cameroon who dares set foot on any school campus with a French Cameroon flag. If French Cameroon troops are not pulled out for schools to resume in Ambazonia, then the schools must remain totally shut down. After all, the educational crisis forms part of the whole conflict that the negotiation seeks to address. Let me say a word or two to all Southern Cameroon's parents out there. Some people are saying to you, oh, they sit in the diaspora and allow their kids to go to school. Why they stop your own kids from going to school? They have your own kids sitting at home. Please, consider this the highest form of manipulation that French Cameroon is known for. The divide and conquer of French Cameroon agents. Yes, it is true. We have our children in the diaspora going to school here. But the reason is simple. Here is not a banana republic, a shithole country in the words of Donald Trump, like French Cameroon, that we seek to sever all ties with. Here is not a country where children go to school, graduate with degrees, and go back to depend on their parents. Here is not the kind of country where children go to school and go back home to become professional Okada riders with degrees in their pockets. We are fighting, ladies and gentlemen, for a better country, our own country, where we shall never be insulted with labels such as shithole country anymore because of the colonialism and the enslavement in which we find ourselves. We are fighting for a country where our children will graduate from college or university to find work in the industries of their choice or become entrepreneurs of their choice. We are fighting for a country where every child shall be treated the same way. No child shall be discriminated against or left behind because of the part of the country he or she comes from, or because of the language he or she speaks. We will not surrender. Schools will never resume in that damn country until we have made sure every Southern Cameroon's child is ensured these rights. Parents, we enjoin you to persevere. There can be no triumph without trials. When this must have come to an end, when this must have been all over, you shall be glad we fought for it. Look at the Ghanaians. They had their children at home for 4 years to fight for their country. Today, Ghanaian education is the envy in the whole of West Africa, if not all of Sub-Saharan Africa. Many other examples like these abound. Let us follow them with perseverance. Get back our country and build our own schools and curriculum. Our children should never have to be forced into the lycée bilingues and all these useless universities that produce worthless certificates that are hardly accepted anywhere in the world. And for the newspapers, Ambazonian or Southern Cameroon-based English newspapers that have been bribed to go out and campaign for school resumption, I have a word for you. We are watching at you. Newspapers that preach back to school campaign in the Southern Cameroons, but shy away at the same time from demanding that French Cameroon, for safety and security purposes, pulls back its troops, shall be targeted. You shall be targeted if need be. Banned from circulating anywhere in Ambazonia. No newspaper vendors shall be allowed to carry or sell your newspapers anywhere on the streets of Ambazonia. We will not sit still and watch you get rich with blood money over the sacrifices of dead Ambazonians. We will embark on a systematic confiscation of newspapers bribed by French Cameroon to sell the back to school campaign. Consider this a warning. We know you, and we have our eyes on you. And now on the abduction of my family. Ladies and gentlemen, first, I thank all of you on the behalf of my family. Those of you who have sent me solidarity messages on the behalf of my family. You should rest assured that we didn't get into this struggle only to chicken out at the least provocation. As of this moment, my family, my mother, my sister, they are all still in the hands of French Cameroon desperate regime. They were picked up last Friday without a warrant. We have now found out that They are in French Cameroon's most dangerous torture chamber called SED. Once we found out that they are being detained in SED, a team of lawyers led by Barrister Christopher Ndong, one of the lead lawyers for the Naira 10, was dispatched to the facility to get them released. They spent all of Saturday at the said facility to see my 80 years mother and my sister. Today, Monday, August the 5th, they were back there, but so far they again were denied access to see my mother. An 80-year-old woman with a daughter whose only sin is that Field Marshal and myself are the sons are locked up incommunicado in the country that says has laws. My mother is diabetic and hypertensive. She was refused her medications at the time they were abducted, and she's now 3 days in confinement without those medications. My sister is a widow with 2 toddlers left at the mercy of a house help. But let me say this: we are not ignorant of the faces behind the mask. We know who is behind this. It has to do with both greed and vendetta. The abduction was concocted almost 2 weeks ago in Chang, in the west region of French Cameroon. Paul Tasson, Bernard Foggio, Dominic Nkobenai, Fond of Fontaine and others, chiefs and elites of the BLM plotted, connived with French Cameroon authorities for the abductions, with the hope that Field Marshal opens up and allows schools to resume in the BLM, or that myself may give up on the struggle. They surely thought to themselves, if we have their mother or family picked up, they will surrender, beg us or negotiate with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to beg nor negotiate the future of the Southern Cameroons with a bunch of inconsequentials in Yaoundé who are quickly losing relevance in the BLM community. You don't negotiate with vampires as this. We want French Cameroon authorities to know this, that my family is not any more better than other Amazonian families they have in their detention. As such, we will not negotiate with anybody for their release, because they should not be there in the first place. They should not be in custody in the first place. Why we will not negotiate or beg for their release? Let me state unequivocally that all the BLM elites, and the chiefs who sat in Chang and plotted the arrest, the abduction, should from today going forward, those of them who hail from the county know they are banned from the county. For as long as my family remain in jail, all of them, and I mean all of them, the men and women who did this, from the Fond of Fontaine to the smallest chief, and from Paul Tasson to the smallest administrator in that gathering, I declare persona non grata in the county of the BLM. The line is drawn. The line is drawn. Going forward, we are going to see who controls the BLM indeed. We will not waste any time going to French Cameroon courts to seek justice or to seek for their release. We will not. They can keep them for as long as they want. But you, ladies and gentlemen, can rest assured that those BLM elites who plotted the abduction of my family will pay. They will pay and pay dearly. In a few days, I shall publish all of their names and photographs so that they can receive the shame they deserve. However, not just that, so that they can start seeking their permanent citizenship in French Cameroon. This is how serious it is. Fellow Ambazonians, all I ask of you today is that you continue to pray for my mother, who is 80 years old, that she doesn't die in French Cameroon dungeons. Your support at this time is certainly the only strength we need to continue to prosecute this revolution. Let us all stand firm, shun all the distraction, shun all the bickerings. Let us all shun all the divides and stay focused. Ours is an idea. They can arrest us, jail us, kill us, but they cannot kill an idea. The idea or the dream of a free and independent Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. When the minority apartheid regime in South Africa locked up Nelson Mandela, they surely thought the idea of a majority rule in that country was dead and buried. Mandela, he remained behind bars in that prison for over 27 years. But the idea never died. Fellow Ambazonians, no maximum security prison in French Cameroon can kill the idea of a free republic of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. Thank you for watching. Good night.